All Indiana Politics
is your premier source for Indiana politics.
Focusing on issues that matter to you.
I still want us to be the best in the Midwest.
We can't afford another lockdown.
Give the citizens of this country the relief they need.
Education in the state of Indiana remains priority number one.
In-depth, nonpartisan coverage.
We don't know exactly where the economy will be in January.
People are worried with good reason.
Exclusive interviews with Indiana's political leaders.
We have the resources here in the state of Indiana to care for those who are in need.
Expert analysis on critical legislation.
We need to reform those laws.
This recovery is going to take some time.
We've got to anticipate that there'll be a budget shortfall.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
I'm Garrett Bergquist, government reporter for Wish TV. We're continuing our coverage of a very crowded Republican primary in the 5th Congressional District, this time with Raju Chinthala. He's a speech pathologist, a hospitality entrepreneur, and a senior advisor to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. He tells me he wants Congress to focus on job creation and finally develop a comprehensive solution to both legal and illegal immigration. Let's bring in 5th District Congressional candidate Raju Chinthala. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate having me here.
So why are you running for Congress?
I've been in Indiana for 30 years also, 28 years now. I moved here in 1996. I have experience in a different way. My name is Raju Chinthala. I worked as a speech pathologist when I came to this state of Indiana. I also entered into several other businesses, including a hospitality business. Then I started working for state of Indiana. I represented state of Indiana in India as a senior advisor for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. This experience, not many candidates have in the Congress. Healthcare, business, government. I worked with many campaigns. I want to give back to this country. This country has given me so much in the last 30 years. I came here in 1994 to United States after finishing my master's. I want to give back to this. I want to develop. I know the 5th District. I want to develop the 5th District as a #1 model district in the country. I also want to help the constituents with the constituent services. That's where my focus is. I want to give back to this community. I have resources, I have time, and I can do that.
You've been endorsed by former Carmel Mayor Jim Brainerd. How is it to get that endorsement?
It's a big deal. It's a huge, usually Mayor Brainerd does not endorse everybody. He does not endorse a lot of congressional candidates. It's a big deal. I think we worked hard on that. We have been friends for a long time, but I also involved with the city of Indianapolis for a long time, similar to, Mayor Ballard also endorsed us last year. So Mayor Ballard and Mayor Brainerd, 2 endorsements from Indianapolis and Carmel speaks a volume from our candidate or campaign.
So the 5th District stretches from Carmel and the northern suburbs of Indianapolis all the way to Marion and Gas City. So you've got a mix of urban and rural interests in that. How would you go about addressing that mix?
See, my first job was in Kokomo in 1996. I was a speech language pathologist. I was doing my clinical fellowship here when I came into this Indiana. I know the district. I worked in Kokomo. I worked in Anderson. I worked in Marion. I worked in Muncie. I worked in Gas City. I worked in Upland. All the nursing homes, skilled nursing facilities. I was a speech language pathologist treating patients. I must have treated at least more than 60,000 patients in the last 25 years. My background is healthcare. I heard the stories from every city, including Fishers, Westfield, Noblesville, Carmel. I worked with those nursing homes. I know the district. I know every street. I know how the jobs working there, how the small businesses are working there, what the veterans are having issues. I know the community very well, all the 5th District. My message is very clear. My message, my mission is to develop the district and help and serve my constituents.
On your website, you say that you want to enforce America's existing immigration laws. You also want to reform the legal immigration system and address the status of undocumented immigrants who are already in this country. Tell me more about that.
I'm all for major reform. there are certain topics, it has become a vote banking during the political elections. Every 4 years, last 24 years, I've been listening to balance the budget, immigration, healthcare, national security, border. Nothing has done in the Congress. 24 years. All 4 years we bring these topics and we try to get the votes from the people. My goal is to fix things. My goal is to get the jobs done. Immigration is one of the worst systems we have in this country. One is legal immigration. I'm a legal immigrant. I came in 1994 as on H-1B visa. I worked very hard. I got my green card. After my green card, it took me another 5 years. In 2010, that means 16 years it took me. I got my passport after 16 years. First vote. But before that, I've been involved with the Republican Party for many, many years, even before I became a citizen. I want to fix that legal immigration itself. Legal immigration, right now, we are expecting 1 million healthcare workforce shortage in this country in the next 15 to 20 years. 1 million just in the one industry. Where are we going to get them? Where are we going to find them? What about the other industries? Information technology, agriculture, research, education. We need workforce. We need to work with other countries to get workforce into this country so that we don't have workforce shortage. Healthcare is the main shortage right now. For doctors, nurses, you name anything, we have a shortage. We have to increase first of all, I would like to see H-1B lottery system should be abolished. We must abolish H-1B lottery system because it is causing major problems with the many small businesses and major corporations. Only major corporations are getting these H-1B visas, whereas small businesses are not able to get them because the volume is so low and the lottery doesn't work for them because they're spending too much money on attorney fees, not able to sure when they will get it. Second is, I want to fix the green card process. Right now, I heard a H-1B holder, legal immigrant to get a green card, it takes around 30 to 40 years. It is worse than slaves. It's worse than slaving that we are bringing these H-1B workers, making them to work without knowing where to go, what is their future, where will their children go? Will they get their children go to college? Will they get a green card or citizenship? Not knowing they're keeping them, that's one of the worst systems, 30 to 40 years. We are supposed to be one of the greatest country on this earth. And the third is illegal immigration. I'm talking to illegal immigration, two subjects. One is undocumented people who are here in this country. I heard more than 3 million, something like that. We need to do something for them. It's not about Republican, it's not about Democrat. It is an issue for everybody. We want to make them pay the taxes. We should be able to train them for workforce that requires in the country. But also same time, they will have a life, quality of life. How long they will live in like this in this country? Nobody has done anything. I've been hearing this, give them a citizenship, give me them an undocumented worker, some ID and all that. Since 2001, no one has done anything. Nothing happened last 24 years. We can't keep people like that for 25, 30 years, not knowing what is their future. Will I go to some another country and do same thing? People say we will deport them. How will you deport 3 million people? How will you even find the undocumented people? The third thing is we must stop illegal immigrants crossing from the border. We must secure the border. We must stop that process right there so that we don't have any more illegal immigrants. I'm all about legal immigration, but these are the problems, and I have solutions. I am the only candidate who can work with other aisle, Democrats. I can talk to the Democrats. I can have a coffee or lunch with the Democrats. I can talk to them. We need a bipartisan relationship in order to work and implement some of these solutions for this largest immigration problem in the world.
I want to go a little bit deeper here. You say you'd want to abolish the H-1B visa program. Would you replace it with something else, or what would come after that?
When I came in, there was no lottery system. My company, who hired me as a speech language pathologist, they filed for H-1B based on my education. That time, they approved the petition here, and then they send me documents in where I was living in India, and I go to the local consulate and get my visa, and then I travel here. That was very simple and easy. If they deny it that particular, if I don't meet the certain qualifications, my education does not meet, or I don't have enough license, because we have to have a license to practice as a speech pathologist. I have to have a minimum qualification is a master's in speech pathology. That's where it was working very well. I don't know how this lottery system came, and then now 65,000 H-1B visas. We get more than 500,000 applications. They put them and they take 65,000 lottery, and whoever gets it, they gets it. They don't get it. That's why the companies are not interested to hire any more H-1B, not knowing whether I will be picked up or not. Even the candidates don't know. And there was a loophole. The candidate can apply to 5 or 6 companies for same job or similar job, and they will put 5 or 6 applications for same candidate. But I think now they fixed in the last 2 years or so, they kind of removed that. They fixed that. But the lottery system is the worst system that's happening in the immigration. I want to abolish, and just everybody can able to petition, and let the petition, when you start applying, whatever the limit is, whether it's a 65, I think we also increased before Y2K, when Y2K problem was there, we needed more information technologies from across the world, and especially from India, there were so many people came. That time, instead of 65, we went up to 110 or 120, I'm not sure exact number, but it was higher, 85, 100, 120. We increased that number based on requirement. We can do that. So those who apply, companies, corporations, or small businesses, when they're applying for the candidate, they should apply directly to the immigration system so that they can approve the petition, and that way there is no lottery system based on merit. Then we have different types of visas, different based on education, PhDs, masters, and then bachelors. And then, of course, different skills. I would like to see a separate visa itself for physicians and healthcare professionals. That's nothing to do with H-1B visa. I would like to see a separate healthcare professional visa just for nurses and physicians to come and work here, because we have a shortage. That's why waiting period is so long. Waiting period is so long for patients to go to hospital and for any treatments. We don't have enough healthcare professionals.
You've also said you would support what you call common sense reforms to Social Security. What would that entail?
What I mean is that the Social Security is very important for people already paid. We must keep it. They paid all their life. I've seen patients in my whole life. My patients used to be more than 85, 95, 100, 105. I think the oldest patient I had, a 108-year-old. I've seen more patients above 100. Just imagine, they paid all their working life, and then one day suddenly government says, we're not going to give you Social Security. They relied on this. This is their pension. They were depending on this money so that they can live independently. And one day you say, we don't have. We must protect that Social Security, and especially senior citizens above 65. I know it's an age for Medicare and all that, but above 85, 90, 95, we must take care of more, not just the healthcare facilities, but also more. The government has a responsibility to do that as much as we do for anything else.
What about for younger people on Social Security?
Younger people, of course, depends on the qualification. If the God has created every human being in a different way. All of us are not in the same socioeconomic or education-wise or earning-wise. Even two two siblings or even siblings who born for same parents, when they're living, one is wealthy, one is poor. One is highly educated, one is not much educated. We see that difference between sisters and brothers and brothers and brothers and sisters and sisters. We must take care of them who are not able to, because these are our gods. God has made people to have a different kind of life. And we must take care of younger generation also who are disabled, who are not able to work for various reasons because of the intellectual disability or handicap, whatever it is. We need to make sure they get resources from the federal government.
But what sort of, what you say, common sense changes to Social Security would you support?
I would like to see more common sense in the sense we don't waste money. There is a misuse of Social Security money in the country. That's where many of the money is going to be wasted. Every system has a corruption. Every system has a wasteful of spending. We need to cut down that wasteful spending. Make sure with the using the technology, with the latest technology, the beneficiary gets it benefit, not middlemen, not anyone else. That money should go to the individual. And we should cut down excessive spending. We have too much administration cost into the Social Security. We must eliminate some of those administration costs in order to the beneficiary benefits that. And use the technology. The technology can eliminate some of the administration costs.
We've had a number of standoffs over the past few years over government spending that has very nearly resulted in federal government shutdowns. How would you approach that issue?
I've seen that happens more every 4 years rather than every year. I think the people, when they come to election cycle, that happens more. I've seen that. I've seen the congressmen and senators and the president talking more about that budget just that election year before the primary. Like this just happened in 2023 because 2024 it became a vote bank issue rather than solving that issue. I'm not expert in a budget, but I'm sure we can find a solution to fix that so that we don't have every year dealing with that. And politicians should not be using that issue for political or vote banking.
There's a lot of focus this cycle on abortion. You've said that you support pro-life policies and legislation while advocating for women's health and alternatives to abortion. What do you mean by that?
See, first of all, the abortion issue is not a federal issue. Federal Constitution does not have anything to do with abortion. It must be local. The states should have right. That's where the local government comes in. That's why we have to separate federal and local. Issues are separate. The abortion is not a federal government issue. It is a state government issue. The state should have right to pass within their states. I'm all for that. Federal government should not involve in that issue because it's unconstitutional.
We've covered a lot of ground in this interview. What's one thing that we haven't talked about that you believe is not getting enough attention in Washington right now?
Healthcare costs. Healthcare costs. Healthcare costs are skyrocketing. Economy, jobs. I'm not a career politician. Never ran for office. I've been involved in the campaign. I worked for last 3 governors. I started my volunteer work when Mitch Daniels was running. I used to be his cameraman with a digital camera. At that time, there is a website called meetup.com came in. That was very popular, like how the Facebook and social media is popular now. It was a meetup.com. My job is to take 3 pictures and put it on it. I worked with all these, Governor Mike Pence, I was a healthcare policy advisor. Then Governor Holcomb, I joined as a full-time, as a consultant, as a senior advisor for economic relations. I bring that experience I'm the only candidate who can have that global perspective. I worked with the Secretary of Commerce at Indiana Economic Development Corporation, Secretary of Commerce, former Secretary of Commerce, Jim Schellinger, who hired me at the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, after I voluntarily bought many companies into the state of Indiana. And that was not my job. I was still working as a speech pathologist. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Education, education, education. These two are the only basic things that eliminates the poverty. It also helps with the mental health issues that's causing a lot of problem. And it also helps boost the community wellness. Wealth of our healthy community depends on how much we make, wages, and how much we are creating the jobs for next generation. I'm really concerned about my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. My son is a medical school student. He's a third-year medical school student at Indiana University. My wife is a geriatric psychiatrist. She works with the mental health issues. She sees hundreds of patients every day with her other psychiatrists, as well as she has one of the largest psychiatric practice in the state of Indiana. She has an 88-bed hospital that she takes care of. We know mental health issues, how to bring the jobs, how to revitalize the economy, how to create jobs and provide the infrastructure that requires the businesses to create jobs, more jobs.
That was Raju Chinthala, Republican candidate for Indiana's 5th Congressional District. The primary is on May 7th. Remember, you can catch All Indiana Politics every Sunday morning at 9:30, only on Wish TV. I'm Garrett Bergquist. Thanks for listening.
From Wish TV, this is All Indiana Politics Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Watch All Indiana Politics live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on Wish TV and at wishtv.com. Subscribe to this podcast and listen weekly here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.